Hi, this is Barbie, and welcome back to the Real Talk podcast. Listen, whether we like to think so or not, none of us really know what we're doing. We have all been on the Hot Mess Express. So when I heard today's guest talking about it online, it cracked me up. I love her real, honest approach and how she talks about her experience about getting blindsided in life and what she did about it. Naomi Kreske has rebuilt herself and helps others figure it out too. She's a certified life coach and mindset mentor and the founder of Keep Finding You. We talk about radical accountability for your own life and how the universe honestly doesn't ask you to do everything all at once. The baby steps put big points up on the board too. You just have to be open and willing to do the work. Let's get started. I'm so glad you're here. You're listening to the Real Talk podcast, a place for you to come and learn things about the real stuff that you're going through. Not the bright, shiny stuff we see on everyone's feeds, but the gritty, messy parts in the middle that need to be heard to heal. You matter here, and you're not alone. I care about leveling up and helping you do the same. Whatever leveling up means to you, whether that's in business, performance, or parenting. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I'm really pumped today to have this guest on with us. Her name is Naomi Kreske, and when I saw her post on Facebook, I was like, we're going to get along so well. She talks about the Hot Mess Express, and we have all been there, and I just thought it was so great. What a real approachable way to talk about life, and we all feel that way some days. Hi, Naomi. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk about the Hot Mess Express.
Yeah, you bet. I know that you've gone through a lot in your life and have had to shift and pivot. And I think that that's really cool to have guests like that on here because we're all going through real stuff. Life isn't easy. And we really want to encourage people to reach out and talk to people who have, been through, similar things and kind of learn from each other. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know a little bit about your background, but it sounds like your life was going one way and then all of a sudden fork in the road. So tell us a little bit about that.
So, one of the big reasons why I share my story is because I feel like it's so relatable. And I know a lot of people can get stuck in life, stuck on the Hot Mess Express. But the fact that I made it off the Hot Mess Express, it's like kind of my mission to share that so women can get, more out of their lives and off the Hot Mess Express that we are all on at one point or another.
Yeah, for sure. And at different points more than others as well. And we say it as a joke, but it is important to say, hey, you know what? There are other people going through similar or the same things, and I'm not alone. And a lot of times I think we put ourselves in these silos and we think that, it's shameful or embarrassing. And I think the more that we talk about it, the more that people feel they can reach out. So what was the first thing that happened? Your life was going one way and then what?
Yeah. So I think the way to really illustrate this is that my life, I grew up with like that white picket fence kind of life. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. We had a loving family, went to college, married my college sweetheart, traveled around a bit, had jobs, started a family. And like my life, for all intents and purposes, was perfect. And at the time I was pregnant with my 3rd child. I was a stay-at-home mom. And out of nowhere, I realized that my husband at the time was cheating on me. And
so here comes the surprise and the shock.
Yes.
That wasn't part of the plan. Pretty sure that wasn't in your plan.
I literally had no idea. There was no dissolution of my marriage or anything. Like, we weren't fighting. A lot of people are like, how do you have a surprise divorce? I literally had the surprise divorce because there wasn't wrong with our relationship. It was, he was dealing with some things, some inner demons. And unfortunately, this is how he chose to handle some of it. And at the time, I have a 9-month-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So I am busy.
Yeah. And well, that's what I was going to say. You can say, okay, well, how's her surprise divorce? Like, you got some stuff going on. It's not like you're just sitting around doing nothing, right? So.
So that was, the rug got pulled out from under me. It was so traumatic. This was my big T trauma because I didn't see it coming, and my life went from, white picket fence to completely screwed up. I was living off of red wine and my treadmill and just
Trying
trying
to
to
keep it
get.
all together.
Exactly. I was a stay-at-home mom and I had to eventually, go back out and into the workforce again. And I had 3 kids and I'm, losing my house. And then I end up running a business with my ex-husband at the same time. So it's like, it was nuts for a very long time. So that's why I call it the Hot Mess Express, because I was a hot mess and it was a runaway train, and it had its purpose for me, but I feel like if I can help women get through this kind of place in life easier and faster and smoother, that's what I'm here for. That's my purpose.
And I think
now.
that's the key there is, a little bit easier, because it's not like anybody can reach out to you and you can do it for them or anything like that. A lot of times it's just having that person tell you, hey, you know what? You're doing okay. You're doing the best you can. And when we
Yes.
do get the rug pulled out from under us like that, it happened to me as well. We're planners. Like, we had a plan. And unfortunately, when you have other humans in your life, everything doesn't go according to plan all the time.
Yeah.
And the most important thing, I think, is for us to encourage each other that we're strong and capable. And especially, when you have 3 kids, I mean, I'm sure people ask you all the time, like, how did you do it? Well, you do. You get up. You
Yeah.
have to.
Well, I was in survival mode. And that's a natural instinct. It's a fight, flight, or freeze. And I was solidly in survival mode. I didn't realize it, but I was just doing what I had to do. And, you talk about supporting each other and encouraging each other. I'm not sure that our society really fosters that very well. I think it's starting to, but I felt so alone because I was the only one of my friends that was divorced and a single mom. And I didn't know how to ask for help, first of all. And I didn't have anybody just coming to me saying, let me help you. I felt very isolated for a very long time.
So how do you think that if you did have a friend going through that, what would be something that somebody would say, hey, how can I help you? Maybe, for me, I would say, I'm at the grocery store. Do you need me to pick you up anything? But what would be something that somebody could have said to you at that time that maybe would have helped? Do you even know?
Just offering time together, because I definitely felt alone. I was a mom. I was either working or doing mom things. So I didn't have that relief very often. Just being asked, like, what can I do for you? Yes, like you said, I'm at the store. What can I get for you? Let me come over. Or how about you come over and I cook dinner, or, something like that. Just like pulling somebody out of their misery, out of their survival mode, out of that isolation, because we can get comfortable in isolation for sure.
Actually, I think that that's a really good point. And I was going to say that is sometimes mentally, that, okay, this isn't good for me. But from a somatic and nervous system viewpoint, it's just easier to not put yourself out there.
Exactly.
And for me, when I was going through it right at the beginning, I had people say to me, oh, well, I knew you'd come to me if you needed anything. I was like, well, it doesn't really matter how strong a person is.
Yeah.
We're human. And I always say, if you aren't sure what someone needs, just ask. Because even if they don't tell you anything, it always feels nice to be thought of. And that is kind of what we're getting at here, is just to support each other and ask what somebody needs, especially if you don't understand what they're going through, because everybody needs a hand. And even if they don't, it always feels nice. So when people come to you and they're going through a really hard time in their life, they're feeling lost, overwhelmed, stuck, that's what we help people the most with. What's the first thing that you do? I mean, I know that you coach them to put a plan in place and things like that. But if somebody comes to you, how does the process look?
So the process always starts with self-awareness, and that's a big word. Well, it's just a big concept. People a lot of times don't really know the full picture of what's really getting in their way, because a lot of times we want to look to outside things like this person and that job and that occurrence or whatever. But a lot of times the things that are really holding you back in life come from yourself. So getting that self-awareness to really understand, why you're where you're at in your life and who you are deep down and who you want to be and where you want to go. Those are some really big questions, but it's kind of the foundation of any sort of self-help journey.
Figure out what you want in life and where you want to go. And when you get the rug pulled out from under you like that, I mean, it forces it a little bit faster. I know it did for me, but you're right. That doesn't mean that we have to say what someone did to us is okay. Like, yes,
Correct.
your husband cheated on you. That's not okay. But then now you can say, okay, now this is like, I take responsibility of my life. Nobody's going to come fix it for me. That doesn't mean that there's not help. It doesn't mean that there's not support. But what you're saying is we really need to take a look, a really deep dive. And this isn't like a one session thing, guys. Like there is a lot of work and junk and stuff underneath there once you sign up to start looking at it.
We avoid that deep dive. Like nobody really wants to really look in the mirror and look at all of the things that they could be doing differently or better or more of. You know what I mean? It's
way easier to blame the other person.
Exactly.
It's way easier.
Exactly.
But when you're like, okay, I'm signing up for the next level, it's really when you got to take that step.
You got to take that accountability and just be brave though. Like that's one of the things that I talk about in, how to get out of your own way is you have to be brave and take that accountability, like radical accountability for what your life actually looks like. If you don't like it, you've played a part in that. So figure out your part and we have to talk about what we can do to make changes.
Absolutely. And also to figure out, so you're going to, we're going to make these changes and then what direction we're going to go in. Because I think for me, a lot of the times, years ago it was very hard. Okay, well, you're going to go in what direction then? The company I had with my mom and my sister, we had to close in COVID. So now I'm in this pivot and everybody's saying, oh, that's great. You can do whatever you want. I can't, but I don't know what that is because I had a plan. And similar, I had a plan.
Yeah.
We had all the things planned out. And then all of a sudden you check all the boxes and then it's like, oh, now what? So that's where this shift comes in, this radical accountability. Now that we're in the second stage of life, and I know you and I have that in common, is the only way we're going to help each other out is to talk about and be honest that, hey, guess what? No one has it all together. Nobody knows what they're doing. We can just learn from other people's experiences. Now, how do you encourage your clients and the people that listen to you? Because what I find a lot of times is I'll listen to other people and I really try to be careful not to get into the trap of, okay, well, that worked for them. But intuitively, we need to really be brave and open about what will work for us.
Yeah, that takes a level of really knowing yourself. So, back to that self-awareness, like really figuring out what works for you and, just being vulnerable, being brave and being you. It's kind of cool that we're talking about this because, I've been through many pivots in my life and me being a life coach, that's one of my most recent pivots. But just recently, I was so focused on the quote unquote right way to do things. And I was getting so frustrated with, well, I'm supposed to be doing it this way, and this book says that, and that show says that, and that podcast says that. And it's just like, forget it. I just want to be me. And
exactly.
That was one of the bravest shifts that I could ever make. And the clients and the people that are the right people for me to be working with, they're going to be attracted to me because I am who I am.
Right. And if you're pretending to be somebody else, you're going to get clients that aren't aligned with you anyways.
Exactly.
Now you've done the Jay Shetty program, and that's a perfect example. You're not going to be like him. We can take nuggets from everybody that we learn from and then make our own recipe for our own way of doing things. And I get trapped in that all the time too, listening to different podcasts. And then you think, oh, I should say that. I should say that. Well, that's how they talk. And if you try to put that mask on, you're just going to sound fake anyways.
Our society wants us to conform and, be like everybody else. Although I do feel like people are starting to really grasp onto their own uniqueness and saying, screw everybody else.
I do think that's great. We want to have authentic voices out there. That's the only way that we can feel inspired by anybody, because even if we are watching somebody or following somebody and they are fake or off, there's something that always feels off, especially for people who are in tune with themselves. Maybe who are people who are just starting on the journey, maybe not so much. So if somebody wanted to get off the Hot Mess Express and start focusing on their goals, what would be the first thing that you would suggest? I mean, we could talk about big concepts like be yourself, but that's all well and fine, but how?
Exactly. I love the how. So the first thing that really helped me get off the Hot Mess Express was stumbling across the concept of the law of attraction. And I was reading a book, and the author was talking about love. And, the whole time I was on the Hot Mess Express, I wanted to find love again. And she was basically telling my story. She was having a conversation with her mother, and her mother was like, you're not winning in the love department. You go out, you party, you drink too much, you stay out too late, and yet you still expect Prince Charming to come in and sweep you off your feet. She's like, it doesn't work that way. And then the author went on to talk about the law of attraction, that literally what you put out in this world is what you get back.
Mm-hmm.
In every single area of your life. You can apply this to everything, to love, to career, to friendship, to everything. And so your mindset and the energy that you have and what you present into the world is what you're going to get back. So this the biggest aha moment for me. It was like, oh, well, if I'm a hot mess, maybe that's why so many douchebags are in my life.
And that's the very interesting thing about the law of attraction. When I first, they had that movie, right? And you saw it. And I identified with it right away. But the really important part that people don't get is exactly what you said. It's not like you just sit there and wish for a diamond necklace and it's going to fall in your lap. It's not like you wish for the dream job and you still sit at home and do nothing and you're not going to get there. You need to take the baby steps in that direction. And the universe will put one step at a time in front of you. You just need to ask and be open and willing. Willing is the word that is very big when we're doing this work, is I'm open and willing to do it. And then when you have that little baby step, you need to take it. Once you start take that little baby step, then the universe will be like, oh, okay, they're serious.
He's
and
ready
then we
for
can
the
move
next
in that
one.
direction.
Open and willing. So that's where you take that long look in the mirror. So when I realized that I was the one who was in my own way, I decided I had to change how I was thinking, how I was acting, how I was speaking. It was a big kind of overhaul, but it started with, and at the time I didn't realize this, but looking back, it started with one question. It was, does this serve me? So does this relationship serve me? Does this job serve me? Does this mindset serve me? Does this behavior serve me? So you can take that question and ask yourself that. And if it's yes, then let's keep it. If it's no, then let's work on editing it out of your life. And, since then, since my aha moment, it didn't happen right away. It probably took me 2 to 3 years to really sort of edit my life. But, there's friendships that I don't have anymore. There is a business, a job that I don't have anymore. There's the ways that I think about myself and my life have completely changed. I try to surround myself with things that are serving me. And just that attitude shift is monumental for, working with the law of attraction and getting off the Hot Mess Express.
And I also think that it's very important that if somebody is in the trenches, you can't see the way out. We're talking about, okay, so you're very aware that your job is not serving you, but you're like, how would I even possibly get out of this? We're not talking about walking in and quitting tomorrow. We're very aware that you need to pay your bills and stuff.
Yep.
But maybe you show up differently at that job. Maybe you take better care of the way you dress when you go to your job. So what we're saying is those little baby steps, you don't need to just rip off the Band-Aid right away. You can also think about the job differently. I had a client and we were working on a lot of times we wrap ourselves up in this identity of this is my job and it's all I have in my life. And we just overwhelm ourselves with that. I know I've had jobs like that in the past. So I said to her, well, like, what about if we just say the job pays the bills? That's all this is. I come to work, I do it, I pay the bills. And she said, oh, well, that makes it feel a lot lighter. Yeah. And so just even having that mindset shift, just like you're saying, does this serve the person that I want to become? So of course we use a story, like you're saying, the illustration, like if you're a hot mess and you're drinking too much and all that, but you want to attract a partner who's super classy and has it all together, that's a mismatch. That energy will do that. You start taking care of yourself first, you're going to welcome someone into your life that wants to take care of you as well.
Yeah. Life starts with you. Nobody's going to hand you life on a silver platter.
And so it's hard, but that's really hard. You know, when you're in the trenches, you and I have both been there and people say, well, how did you, I mean, like looking back, I'm like, I don't know. I just did it. But now looking back, there's these little baby steps where I just didn't quit. And today's, I'm going to be a little bit better than yesterday. That's all you can do. You know, life's hard. There's a lot of hard stuff going on and it's not easy, but when you're open and willing to see a different way is where you're start seeing things. And then, like you said, being brave to make that change.
There's another word that society throws around a lot and it's gratitude. But recently I have been using a different gratitude practice with a client that I feel like makes it even better. And, you know, she was struggling with her career. And everybody talks about a gratitude practice, you know, at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, you know, say 3 things that you're grateful for. And you're like, my house, my husband, the delicious dinner I had. That's very surface level gratitude. Mm-hmm. But I challenged her. I want you every day to list things about your career that you're grateful for. Mm. So the thing that is most challenging in your life, if you start training your brain to find the positive things in it, then that's how you can change the energy around that subject. So now you're going to become more in alignment to having good things happen if you're trying to find the good things.
Right. And the energy is what we're talking about here. You can write down anything, but it's about that energy that you bring to the feeling. You can feel grateful about things, even if like everything in your life is like on a dumpster fire. I can still feel grateful for very small things, like how soft a blanket feels when I put it on or things like that. It doesn't mean that you have to be happy about everything else in your life. The energy of just being like, oh my gosh, this blanket feels so nice. Like I feel that gratitude in me about the blanket doesn't negate that everything else sucks right now.
Right.
Your point is that energy, that feeling will attract more of it. And I got trapped in that before. And I think we all have. It's like, I should be grateful because it could be worse. That is a really big trap to be in as well. And I really want to make sure that we encourage people not to do that because it could be worse. It could be better. Of course, we want to have empathy for, yes, there's people out there, of course, I mean, terrible, you know, and our prayers and thoughts go out to them. But here on this, we're talking about how can we bring positive energy into our lives when there's a lot of stuff that feels heavy. And you really can do it, even if it's really, really, really small.
Yeah, it's comparison is, you know, what they say, the thief of joy. But comparing, you know, what is hard for you to what might be hard for somebody else, that downplays what you're going through. And yes, somebody else might be going through something else that's horrific, but that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to feel bad about what you're going through. So
both can exist at the same time. That was a big lesson for me, even feelings in my own life. You don't have to be good or bad. You don't have to be having a good day or a bad day. If I'm feeling happy or feeling good, gratitude, high energy, high vibe that day, doesn't mean that everything's all sunshine and rainbows. I can still be working on different things. And that's something that I had to learn in the past few years where two realities can exist at the same time. Our brains tend to be that one way or another, and
Yes.
we can retrain our brain to have different buckets and be more fluid throughout things. It doesn't mean that you're all bad or all.
Nope. I love the gray area.
But I think it takes that real slowing down, because when we're rushing through life, it's like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, we got to do that. And I think that that's where the discomfort comes. And it
Correct.
certainly did for me when I was, learning to really sit with myself. I mean, it's hard. It sucks. There's a lot going on there. You're like, oh, I just want to keep moving to avoid it.
Correct.
And, drink the wine, do the activities, do the going, and it's hard, because when you are ready to do it and you want to be brave, it doesn't feel brave. Brave doesn't feel brave. Brave sucks. Like, it's hard. You see people that you think are brave on TV, and it's like, they're badass. Like, look at that suit. She's got it all together. And that is not how it feels. It is messy.
Yeah.
And then you look back and you're like, hey, that was kind of brave. In the moment, we don't feel brave. And that's what I like to make sure we mention as well, is if you feel like you're a mess and a disaster, and then you just take one positive step for yourself, that's brave. That's brave.
And the fear that you're feeling is that human instinct that has been with you since caveman days, that's just trying to protect you. Because whether you're working towards something that's good or not, your brain will still try to protect you from it, because it's different.
It's new and different and unknown.
Exactly. And you just have to.
So fascinating.
Yeah. You just have to push through that and just trust your instinct. I know we talked about intuition for a second, but just trust your inner voice and just do it. I love Nike. It's just do it.
Well, and to everybody listening, you're a lot smarter than you think you are. You know what you need to do. Sometimes we just need to be our own parent and be like, hey, what would you say to your kid? It's like, oh, it's okay. You can totally do it. You're strong enough. You're brave enough. And I think that is a great place to finish today's episode. You're strong and you're brave. Look at how far you've already come. I love the quote that says you've made it through 100% of your bad days. Yeah. So reach out to people who can help you. Reach out to people who have been through it and can kind of hold your hand as you figure it out for yourself. Because there's nothing that we want more than for you to look back after a year and say, hey, you know what? I was brave. I did that. And I'm really proud of myself. Thank you so much, Naomi, for joining me today on this podcast. Everybody, please make sure you check out our page. I'll have all the links in the show notes, and we will be back very soon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Real Talk podcast with Barbie. This is the place for you to come and learn things about the real stuff that we're all going through. Make sure you check out the show notes, links to social media, and information on any guests that we had on the show. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad you came.